Welcome back, everyone. Here is part 2 of the video that I couldn't fit everything into of installing the trusses, and you'll get to see the fun I have of that. But I didn't have a beginning for this one because I didn't know I was going to split it in two when I did it initially. And the reason I'm all dressed up like this is we had just had a big storm, which you'll see in a later video, but I figured I might as well come out here and show you what it looks like. So this is the creek, if you remember, and I'll try to find a clip of it, where I have with the Mini, with the rut cutter on it, where I'm reaching down as far as the Mini will reach to clear the banks here. So this is when I talk about the creek in the woods. This is the area I'm talking about. The dam is just over there, but this is completely full. There's that tree that's come down that you've seen before, but it's very close. It's very close to coming over, but like I said, the rain has stopped now. I'll make a future video of what it did on the other side. I had another inflow basically from the overflow pipe, but the water coming up in, I need to get a gate valve and or a one-way valve where the water can go out of the pond but can't come in. Now I fixed it with a sheet of plywood, banged it down into the ground, and I stopped it. But see, it's starting to trickle in over here. Never a dull moment, but you know what? It gives me something to do. And I came around that way. I can't go that way right now because when you can't see it, but you take a left-hand turn over there, and there's the ditch that runs all the way from the lake, all the way down by the memorial area, and all the way down by the shop, and all the way out to the creek. Has water backing up into it as well, and I can't make the turn because it's spilled over from the creek around the corner. So yeah, fun. So anyway, this just made the where's the button? This just made the beginning a little bit longer than it needed to be, but I thought you might be interested in this. So enjoy part 2. This is the end of the truss video, and hope you enjoy it. I need a drink. So on the previous video of these being delivered, where I showed them being delivered, and I said I'd... Yep, there they go. Didn't like the way they did it. Well, there's another damage. That vertical broke that loose over there and broke the bottom loose and pushed it in and cracked it. So I can fix it, and I'll try to put that joist, that truss somewhere. I'll put it towards the end where it's really not going to get much weight on it, but I'll fix it and nail it. Unbelievable. I don't know how they don't care about this stuff. But here's the last stack. All the other ones are in place, so hallelujah. All right, here's an interim. Anyway, I got most of these laid out, ready to go. I've got to get this area right now that I'm going to work on. These are the only ones that fit end to end, so they have to fit perfectly, so there's no room for error. And a lot of these trusses are not all the same size. They're within a 1/4 inch of each other, so I can't just assume that I can just drop them in afterwards. So I'm working on this spot now. These hang. There's a girder truss here and one in the front as well. So these two hang. That side hangs. It's the same on this one here. There's the girder truss, and that one hangs on both sides, whereas the other ones sit on a wall. So that's the only one here on this side that does that. But end to end, they need to fit. And plus, you know, the plates take up a little bit of space. It's not exact science with the way they do these. So I'm working on these now. I just bought this new Milwaukee 30-degree cordless nailer, framing nailer, so I haven't even used it yet. See how it is. Normally I'll use air powered for the whole for most of everything, but when you need to get in a tight spot and you don't feel like dragging a hose around, and I don't feel like getting the compressor set up yet. So we'll try that out, and I'll show you on the other side when I get there what I'm doing. So this will give you a better look. So there's the girder truss. These hang off of, the straps are down there. I didn't get them yet. I built a temporary support just to keep it in line so I don't have to try to hold it up and get the hanger. Some people put the hangers on first, but it never really is in the right place when you do that, and they rely on the nails to hold it. So by doing this, it's right in the proper plane, and I don't have to worry about getting it exact. It will be exact when I put them on. And the other thing that I do that most people don't do is I use these timber screws. I've showed them before on the memorial area and on that area, but these are 3-inch timber screws, star drive on top, and these really suck down. So there will be one of these on each end of the, I'll still nail the trusses, but they will all have one of these as well in the center holding them down. You know, they're a little pricey, but they're good stuff. So you don't have to worry about these coming out. So that's what they call a ladder truss. That's just the outside, and then there will be 2 here. This area right here, there's a toilet going here. This area here is going to be, well, this is all outdoor kitchen, seating, and this whole area here will be a pool with a lanai covering it, so it'll all be in screen. And this is going to be the bathroom for the outside. Well, it's connected to the inside, but this will be like the guest bathroom slash, if you're in the pool, you don't have to go very far. So there's a toilet centered right there. So the other truss, these are not, this will be 19 on center right here. So this will give enough room for the toilet to be centered. And there's a sink over there, and then a door. There's a door here, and then there's a door that goes into a hallway there. This is our bedroom. Well, basically this whole side is our bedroom. It's basically the bed area here, large master bath, and basically that whole front will be closet. It'll be one giant walk-in closet. So, and with a hallway. And then this is the great room, 12-foot ceilings here. Everywhere else is 10-foot ceilings. And the dining tables, and then the kitchen. The kitchen is down this end. That's a big pantry. That whole front area is going to be a pantry. There's a bedroom here, a bedroom there, which we're not really going to use as a bedroom. It's going to be more an office. We don't need any more bedroom space. We have plenty of area here for that. And then this is a game room, so probably have a pool table and a bar in here. And the garage, it's a 30 by 50 garage, will be from here to there, out 50 feet that way. Upcoming video on when I do the foundation for that. I'll be doing that myself. I'll probably have somebody pour it just because I can't get any help to actually finish it, but everything else I'll do, that'll be in another video. So I'll let you see one of these timber screws in action. It comes with the bit as well, which is nice. So right in the center, that's it. And I don't know if you can see that, but that sucks right in. So that isn't rocking. That isn't going anywhere. All right, so here's what the connection looks like after it's done. Not crazy about the way they did the girder truss. There's really not enough to secure it to other than those brackets. So what I did is I'm leaving my temporary support in there, and I put 5-inch timber locks into the center support on those as well, just to keep it, because the way that they make these overlapping brackets when they oppose each other, you've got metal behind here, so you can't, I had to drill a hole through the metal just to be able to get into that. So it's not most of it's sitting on the wall anyway, but I just I don't like that, so I made it a little better. All right, so of course I have to stop here because these particular trusses that go this way are too long. They made them too long, so they have to redo those, and they did not give me any way to hang that girder truss that holds those two and these two. It wasn't even on the plans, so they've got to get back to me as to how they're going to do it. My recommendation was they give me 2 more LVLs. I go from this pier to that pier, and then it can sit on it right there. The second way is a hanger. I would prefer the LVL method over the hanger. Don't care for those too much, as I've talked about, but so I got to wait on those. But what I did is I had some OSB left over in the shop, and I brought it out just to make sure that everything was square, even though I figured it was square because I squared everything. But it's always good to verify with actual sheet goods, so this way I know I can continue down, because I talked about these trusses are all a little bit different. So in putting this 2x4 on, laying it out, it's, you know, I don't know if I can show one that's off the ground a little bit. See that wiggles? See, that one's not touching, so I'm gonna shim. That's good. That one's good. There's a couple of them that I'm going to shim before I fasten them down, and I'll show how to lay this out. I'll talk about that in another segment here. All right, so how to lay these out. Again, I'll go over it. It's 16. These are 16 on center. Some people do 24, but for 16 on center, that means that from the center here to the center here is 16 inches. It also means that from here to here is 16 inches, but you need it to lay out that way. So what you do on this first run is you subtract half of whatever you're using. Now, if it was just a regular conventional floor joist, which is 1.5 inches, you would take off 3/4. But because this is 3.5, half of that is 1 3/4 inches. So from the end, you go 14 1/4, make a mark, and then everything after that is 16 inches. Or you could just mark, you could just go down and mark and subtract the 1 3/4 inches from each one, but there's no need to do that. What I do is I just take a clamp like this, so from here to here is 14 1/4, and your X or your framing goes to the left side. So I just hook the tape on there, and from there everything now is 16, all the way till you get to the end, and you've got your 16. But again, here, because you want to be half on, you've got to measure over 1 3/4 inches and cut it. So this way, this will be half on. When it comes down over here, it will fall out, and it will be right there. So your line would be over here, so you're looking here, but it'll end here, and then you could just repeat the process till you get to the end. And you just have to make sure, because I'll show you on this one, this 2x4 here curves back just a little bit on the top. So I always test fit before I mark the piece. I'll test fit the next 2x4 because they're not all perfect when you get them from the factory. So I just test fit it, and then I'll fix it accordingly. If it needs to be retrimmed, then I retrim it. So that, because like I said, usually you have about 1 inch of play, because on a 16-foot board, they're usually 16'1". So you got a little bit of play on them anyway. So that's how you do it, and then just install them. And what I try to do is, as I talked about previously, is I use the clamp, and I clamp them just to make sure that they're straight. And if any of them are lifted off the sill plate, I verify that it's level with I have a 7-foot level that I use. I verify that it's level, and then I shim the bottom. So this way you have a house that's straight, because one of the things you definitely don't want to do is if you start off if you're not level, everything is just compounded after that. If you start off, take a little bit more time in the beginning, make sure everything is good, level and square, the rest of it goes much easier because you don't have to worry about it. You can measure off something and know that it's square. So just a little tip. All right, and I'll show this in place now. So here's your lines. So again, the X, I don't write them on every one because it's only me doing it. As long as you know what it is, you don't have to mark it. It's only when you have multiple people so they know where it goes. Basically, I'm just looking at that line and I'll move that over like that. And so as it goes down, and of course, and before you say, why didn't you put this board inside? Because when I nail this into the truss, I don't want it rocking. This is going to have plywood that's going to cover that over. This is, I mean, it's cosmetic right now. It's not structural, because like I said, it'll be, the plywood will come down all the way down and lock everything together. So I just wanted to show what I meant down here. So you can see, so there's your line, and there's the 1 3/4 inch here. So the next one goes right in there and continues down. So you basically just do that all the way, and what'll happen when you get down to the end in a corner, this is where you'll have to measure this. You got to get this in place, get it plumb. You know, you don't want it being back like that, but you want to get your length here, and because this one runs behind that one, and then you can just add the 3.5 to it and shoot it in from behind as well. So a little bit of housekeeping, not really housekeeping, but equipment moving around. I haven't told anybody, but the Warrior has been at the shop for 2 months. The whole electrical system, the ECU, wire harness, everything needs to be upgraded. They came up with a better model, but mine didn't get it. So they're warrantying it, but it's past the warranty, but they're going to approve it and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I have to use the Ranger. But this has still been in when I did David's garage. So I need to use this. And I started to use my old equipment trailer. This used to have all shelves in it. And then I upgraded to this one in 2005. This had all shelves and toolboxes and everything in it. And I took it apart when we moved down here so that I could put the cars in here and everything 26 trips worth. Brought everything down here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the chop saw up in here so that I don't have to pull it out when I want to use it. It'll just be along the edge, so I'll be able to leave it set up, and the table saw, and plus this has a ramp, so I can roll everything in and out, and like the wheelbarrow, when I bring the tools that I'm using to the house, I can just roll it in and then roll it back out, and it makes it much easier. So today I'm not going to get too much done. Went to the lumber yard, got things I needed, so it's things that need to get done, but it'll seem like I never got anything done. Kind of like when Chris said at the end of the day after moving all that dirt, it's going to look like I didn't do anything, because he pushed it all off on the back slope of that big pond job that he's doing. But sometimes you got to do these days just to get them done. All right, another interim. Get a little bit of David's replica in action. What I'm doing, I'm sorry I didn't take a lot of video in between, because, well, I don't want to keep harping on these trusses that I don't like the way they made them, but I don't like the way they made them. They are just not straight at all. I mean, if you look in the front, you'll see, if you can look at that overhang, if you look down there, overhang, it's not flush. This one's farther over, and there's one that's flush. This one's not flush. If you look, I don't know if you can hear that, that's sticking over. Look at that one, that's back. Same on the bottom. I mean, take a little pride in your work, people. So anyway, how do you make something straight and square when you have nothing to go off of? So what I'm doing is I had these 4 sheets in the shop, and I put them down like it would be floor sheathing. This is not going to be the sheathing, but I'm putting it down and I'm getting the rim board straight. So I went and bought 20 more sheets just to be able to, because what I was doing was I had to keep removing them, moving them, and that kind of defeats the purpose if I have to keep moving them. So I'm gonna make a row down here, a couple of them, make sure everything falls out okay, and get this perfectly straight. And this way I'm perfectly square with that side of the house, and when I do this I can get this perfectly square with this by using that, because I have nothing to go off of other than the rim board and moving them back and forth. It's too much to get into, but it's very aggravating for me. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. So that's my little rant for this whatever you want to call it. And I just want to show the foundation's level, the sills are level. You can see that on a 7-foot level. But when you look at the rim board, you see that space. And this one right here, if you look, it's touching. And there's still a space here. Hear it? So what I'm doing is I'm shimming if some are low, because I believe it's these, but I'm getting these up, trying to get that up flush. But I can't get them up flush when it's touching here. What am I going to do? Cut every one? I mean, there's 150 trusses. Oh, I'll be here forever. So this is what's aggravating me. I'm in trouble now. I got 2 inspectors. Misty's always on the prowl, looking at her domicile. All right, here's another interim. I'm sorry, I'm not being very good about videoing things. I'm trying to fix all the problems with the trusses. So what I end up doing is I'm ripping all the rim boards down to 3 1/4 inches, because first I thought our 2x4s were too big, but they did not make the notch even the size of theirs, which are 3 1/2. This notch is around. Everything was square though, which is nice. So I've got this area. They got me the proper trusses over here. So I did that, and I've got all these sheets down. Now these are coming up, but I just wanted to show this. These are 2x6s, which are going to be the strong backs. What that is, it's a vertical board. There's a pipe chase in the middle there, if you can see it. You only need 1 of these, but I'm gonna put 1 on each side of the pipe chase. That stiffens up the floor, keeps it from twisting, but it also stiffens it up, because you'll have a 2x6 nailed with 3 nails into each of the verticals. And as I talked about previously in a video, you know, these are only held together with these metal plates, but where all the verticals are, top and bottom, I'm going to nail those with 16s when I do it. So what I did here, just because I have all these are properly spaced, 16 on center, now I'm going to leave one of the rat runs just up on top, screwed down, so I can do 2 sheets, because I'll be starting the floor sheathing. It's going to be at Vantech tongue and groove. I'm going to start from there and work that way. So I just took 1 run of that while I'm on this plywood. But what I'm going to do for the rest of them, where I don't have plywood, is I don't need to put any plywood on these, because I already know that's square, is I'm going to put them in where they go, in the pipe chase, and just from standing down there, I'm going to screw them down into where the pipe chase is. It has to go down there anyway. It'll be on the wrong side of the pipe chase, but Actually, I'll probably put it in where it goes. I think I can, yeah, I can get it in there, no problem. So I'm going to put it in where it goes, lay it flat. It looks like it'll lay flat. Yep, it'll lay flat. And I'm just going to screw them flat in there for now. They will have to be undone. That's partly why I would prefer to have it on top like this, because obviously before I could do the third sheet in the run, those have to come off. But it doesn't matter, because once you get to this second sheet, that's, you know, it's in line. You're not going to move too much more. You know, if these were eye joists or regular 2x, you can move them. But with these, you're not really, once you get past, you know, that third sheet, you're not going to be moving them. But it's nice because you've got 3.5 inches of bearing surface. So if it's off a little bit, it won't make any difference. So that's where I am. I still have to do rim board there, and I have to get those. Those are not in place yet, because what I did is as I said, I got it square exactly. I don't like just partly, closely enough. No, I want everything square. And then, like I said, all these are a little different heights, so I have to shim a lot of them up to keep everything level, because there's nothing worse than a house that starts off not level, because then everything will be off after that. So I still need to get these where they go, because they all have to move over about 3/4 of an inch to an inch for wherever I thought they were going. I kind of just place them by eye, but I've got to get them put in place, rim board, get these screwed down with the timber screws, and then that would be it. And before somebody asks, why didn't you just put the Advantech down now instead of doing all that? I don't want it to be open to the weather. I don't want that, even though it's made for it. I don't want it to be exposed to the weather any longer than it has to be. And as I talked about, as soon as I'm done with this, before I put the Advantech down and frame the walls, I need to build the pad and the forms and pour the concrete for the garage, now that I know where it's going. And that's going to take a little bit of while, and depending on the weather, you know, that could take a couple of weeks before that is finished. And then I will put the plywood down, and then I will build the walls, because they still don't have the trusses. They still don't have the trusses for my approval yet, and I gave them a leeway, because with the holidays coming, I didn't want to have it. There's no way I'm going to need them before then anyway, so no sense to pay $45,000 when I don't have to. So I'm going to get that in January. But so that's the reason why I'm not putting the, if somebody says, why don't you just put it down? Yes, in theory, this would have been the time. It would have gone right down now, and then I wouldn't need to temporarily do that. And the other reason for doing that, if you're interested, is it's not just so that they keep their 16 on center spacing. It's so that they don't want to warp, because when you have a long run like this with nothing in the sun and the wet and the humidity, and then it's dry, you know, they'll tend to want to move around. So you've got to have something to hold those in place, because you definitely don't want those twisting on you. That would not be a good thing. All right, here's another interim. So I had all this plywood laid out as I showed before, so I started moving it down this way, and I'm running out of time here. Wendy and I are going away in a little bit, and just for a few days, and I need to get this done. And fortunately, light is never on our side. So you can see what I'm doing. This isn't staying down, but I've run these sheets over, and I wanted to make sure that this was where it needs to be, because as you can tell with the split block, you know, it's a little bit harder, and harder for the masons. They did a very good job. I have to give them credit. They have been dead on level, and they have been square. But it's still hard for me with these trusses to get, when you've got intersections. You've got the center section, you've got the little wing area, I call it, or stairway I call it. It's not a stairway, but it's where I'm putting the ladder to get down there for right now, that's where they made the trusses wrong. Then you've got this area, then it jogs back out, then it jogs back in. So it makes it hard when the trusses are all every which way but loose. So Anyway, measured this and measured this, and this is 10 inches and that is 10 inches. So I have gotten them. My method is spot on, so I'm lucky with that I don't have to mess with it. So at least I know where I have it is good, so I can just continue and try to get the rest of this little bit done before we got to go, and then I'll pick up again in the next video when I get back. Oh, and the other thing that it does, which makes it easier for me than trying to square it mathematically or any other method, which this is much easier and quicker, is to get this little knee wall here square again, because you can't follow anything. So I just square that up, and that's it. That's where it goes. Bolt it down. All right, here's another interim. I'm kind of doing them in interims because it takes so long that it's just easier to do it this way. So I'm ripping, as I talked about, I'm ripping the rim board down to 3 1/4, so it gives me enough play that I can work with the trusses that are, the cuts that are off. And normally you'd snap a line to do this. Normally it would just follow the sill once you put it down square. But because these trusses are all different, the easiest way is, as I talked about with the OSB, I put it down, and this way I can move each truss individually. So it may have to move in or out, but it ends up making it straight and flush. Like I said, probably something else will happen on the other side if it's too far off. But this area here is all in the garage, so none of this will matter. This is the game room here, so none of this matters if it's off a little bit. This portion here is straight because this is the main part where the two wings, or the two wings of the 3 wings come together. So this is all done. I don't have the rim board on yet, but it's all in place. It's all straight. That side is all done as well. I just need to get the temporary support on the middle down, and it's the same thing I'm going to do here. But as you can tell, we're going to run out of daylight soon, so I've got to get moving. But yeah, this was a lot more work than it needed to be. That is for sure. All right, here is hopefully the last day of these floor truss installation. Wendy and I were away for 4 days. We just got back, and we came back to frost. This is not what we want to see in South Carolina. No. But it's warming up now, so this will all melt. Where I have it situated is, in this time of the year, you don't get any sun because the sun is lower. So purposely put it here so that lumber doesn't get put in the sun. But when it's frozen, you kind of want it to be in the sun. But everything here is going well. That's all dried out now. So I just have the rim board to do around here and a little bit more on the other side. And this will be a wrap. But it won't be a wrap unless I get working. So let me... I'll give you a little insight into what I do every morning, setting up the tools in an array. I don't run over the hose, especially when it's cold. That's basically it. I got most of the tools I use, and my personal tools are in the wheelbarrow. Bring it to where I want, and then I do have some things in the back of the 350 that I put inside the shop at night, so that's also close to where I need it, so I don't have to takes less time. But what I am going to have to do now, as I talked about before, and you can see the remnants of it, is I need to rip all the 2x4s down to fit the notches that they made on the trusses. So I don't do them all at once, just so that it doesn't overheat the motor on the table saw. I've had that for like 25 years at least, and I like that one, so I try not to overwork it. But I don't have too many more to go, so I'll get a shot of that so you can see when I do one. At least you can see what I have to do. Rip off. Of course, they're equally bad, but you gotta pick one. Yeah, there's no, it doesn't really matter. So this is the temporary, these will be the strong backs that go down below on each side of the pipe case. But for now, I just put them on top. This way I can, when I put the floor sheathing down, I can move them if they need to be moved side to side, but this will keep them from warping. So these will come off once I get the second row of plywood. These will come off. These are just 3-inch deck screws. I don't screw them down too tight. Meaning I don't sink the head below the wood, because then usually what happens is it won't come out. It'll just lift the whole board off and leave the screw in, which you don't want to do, because I'm going to reuse these. These will want to warp, being out in the sun and changes the humidity. Like I said, these are going to be here for a couple of weeks. You can lay these out as well, so you get them in the right place, but you don't have to. It just makes it easier for putting down the sheet goods when you do that. Less chance of moving them. Alright, you get the idea. Alright, I just want to show this as well. Why I'm so frustrated. Now, I'm going to show you that that's sitting on the bottom. Sitting on the bottom. Sitting on the bottom, meaning the plate. It's sitting. They're not up in the air. See? Up in, they're sitting. So, let's measure this one. 16 inches. How about this one? 16 inches. How about this one? Oh, 16 and a quarter. How about this one? I didn't even measure this one. Let's see what it is. 16. All right. So when you get ones like this, how are you supposed to keep the floor level? And you can't lift them all up if they're short. There are a couple, but look at the gap. I don't know if you can see it. Over there. Over there. Gap. Oh, those are okay. Those are okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp that together and have it sit, and then put a bolt, not a bolt, but put one of the timber screws in it to suck that up and have it hold it there. And once I put the subfloor down, hopefully it'll hold the one, pull up the one that's low. But again, this I've been fighting with this. I've been fighting with this. I've had jacks out. I put a board underneath that. There, you can't see it, but you can kind of see it. But I put the jack under there, lifted it up, ground it down, shimmed it. It's just, and it's not because of the foundation, it's not because of the sills, it's not because of the beam, it's not because of the piers, it's because of the trusses being made irregularly. You know, just look right here. Right here. Look at this. So I've got to put these blocks in between and bring them out to where they should be. But, you know, all this affects how everything comes out. Look, same thing. There's no reason for that. Somebody is making this. Somebody makes this. Their job is to make that flush, and they do not. But they make the bottom flush, but they don't make the top flush. So, never mind. All right, here we are. End of video. Hallelujah. Floor trusses are done. They remade these. They remade those over there. You saw all the other ones go in. I got my center support. These will go. These will go. Those are called strongbacks or rat runs. I call them rat runs, but they call them strongbacks. They will go here on this side of this is a pipe chase. But again, you know, they make the pipe chase and then they give you this, you know, the gable wall, so to speak, the end wall, and then they don't space that out so that, you know, because if you're going to put a duct in there, you've got to slide it in from the outside. I mean, you can't fit it between here and bend it around. So depending on the size of the duct, I may have to alter that one just so they can get that in there. Anyway, so that is something that took much longer than it needed to. Here, let me go up. Let me climb up on the topsoil pile, if you could call this. This is our kind of topsoil. This isn't real good topsoil, but as you can see, it grows stuff. So maybe that'll give it a better idea. I do have a drone, like I said. David used to do it. It's a different drone, but I have enough things to do. Every time I go to put it together, I forget how to put it together. When Kevin here, my son-in-law, is here, he usually does it for me. But yeah, so there you go. So the next thing, I'll show you what the next thing will be. Let me get down. Septic tank is going here, so I didn't want to fill that back in, so I got my plank out so I could walk over it. There's going to be a pool here, lanai. This will all be closed in. Obviously this dirt is coming out. As if you remember from other videos, I put this dirt here so that I could drive up to fill in all this is all outside living area, all under roof. So now what I can do as well is I can compact this and then fill it up level again, so that when we have the patios done, they're going to be stamped, that they will be ready to go. But it's not pressing for right now. But for the next thing that I have to do, as I talked about, there is a 30 by 50 garage, 3-car garage going here, and I talked about this before, but the wall of this is the game room. This wall continues and past 3 feet, and then the garage goes this way. So they share the wall, but it's a little tricky. I'll explain it better when I do it. But when it makes the transition from this 3-foot segment, the block couldn't be in line like this. Otherwise, it would look like this on the outside, if that makes any sense. So I have to stagger. I'm going to stagger the block so that it sticks, that part is on the inside of the garage, so you won't see it. Initially I wasn't going to have, this is a slab over here. There's no foundation around it. It'll be monolithic. It'll have footings and rebar and all that, but it was going to be 8 inches above the ground. But the way that the landscaping has to go here, this dirt has to come across, I didn't want to have it spilling into the actual wall of the garage. This way it can make its transition down to here. So anyway, that's a long explanation. To the next video will be, well, I don't know what order I'll do this in. I mean, I'm going to be doing it. I don't know what order the video will be in, but this is what I'm going to be working on next, is doing that wall. Basically, that's enough. It's all that has to be cut, and it'll be 30 foot from there to there. And this, I'm going to scrape all this down, and I am going to put in the good clay, which is in that pile right there, and I am going to bring it up to the level where it needs to be, which will be basically that first row of block, because I want to have 8 inches of concrete, between 6 and 8 inches of concrete in here. So that's what I'll be doing next. And yeah, so sorry this took a long time to get this one out, but yeah, you saw the problems, and you didn't even see all the problems because I didn't even put them all in there. But let me just say, I'm not crazy about their manufacturing process. But enough of that. So as usual, oh, and I did have I had a special celebrity came to visit us. State senator came. I'll put a picture up. He's a friend of ours. So I'm kind of joking, but he did come to look at it. So he liked what he saw. So again, that was a good thing. It made me smile. So anyway, as usual, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.